What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast, the OG sex positive podcast celebrating 6 years of podcasting. This is episode 459. I'm your host, Stevie, alongside Lincoln. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. I've missed everybody.
We missed you so much and can't wait to get into it with you. Of course, joining us is Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful this evening. It's so good to have all of us together.
I agree.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I have mentioned that I am in Puerto Vallarta, enjoying it. So beautiful here. But I ran into a listener that I wanted to shout out to. Shout out to Oleg, who saw me sitting at this bar and was walking along the beach and pointed at me. And he says, "You don't know me, but we've talked." And I said, "Okay." He ran into the restaurant where I was having my third margarita. And we did, if you go to our Instagram at TAGSPodcast, you'll see the story that I reposted. So shout out, Oleg, and thank you for being such a loyal listener. It was great meeting you in person. And I am here till another week. So if anyone else is in Puerto Vallarta, shout out to me and would love to meet you. All right. Yeah, exactly. So much fun. Wow, that's today, fun. Yeah. So much. This is Monday, the night before this drops on April 25th. But I don't know if you guys heard, but so much in the news was happening. We're not going to spend too much time, but Tucker Carlson on Fox got fired. Then
the worst.
Don Lemon over at CNN got fired over there.
That is
and something. Bed Bath & Beyond is no longer filed for bankruptcy. And the reason why this one affects me is because as we're decorating this condo for my sister, we realized we needed another panel of curtains, and we literally went on the site to order that panel, and there it's like closed up for shop, like nothing. So you're
really?
on your own.
I thought they still had like 200 stores that were open. They filed bankruptcy, but they might have closed their online business, but there are still stores open.
There may be, but I don't know if you walked over to those stores. But yeah, that's it. So busy, crazy day, right? On the news, on those good on Tucker Carlson, who's been reporting lies left and right.
Right?
And
yes.
Yeah.
He will not be missed. But Don Lemon, he's been having some controversy too, especially with those misogynistic things that he said and ageist things he said to that woman. But I still don't think he deserves to be fired for what he was fired for.
Yeah, kind of crazy to be fired and find out the morning of, not by your boss, but by your management team. Crazy. That can't feel very good. But yeah, I don't know. Changes and changes. So anyways, okay. Well, speaking of changes, we have to talk about Florida because officials, and I believe it's Florida City, officials in Florida have canceled a gay pride parade and restricted other pride events to people 21 years and older. This is in anticipation of Governor DeSantis signing a bill meant to keep children out of drag shows. So it's come to this already where we're like we're canceling drag events because a lot of people like to bring people of all ages to pride events and expose them to the beauty known as pride. Well, what was really cool in a twist is Kevin Bacon. There's two celebrities that have shown their support recently for drag. First, Kevin Bacon, then Lizzo. Kevin Bacon went viral with his wife. Oh my gosh, what's her name?
Kira Sedgwick.
Thank you. That he posted this great Twitter video that drag is an art, drag is an art, drag is a right on their t-shirts. The soundtrack of the music they used was Karma by Taylor Swift, and they posted it yesterday. Well, you can imagine so many people loved what they did. Two straight longtime actors couple showing their support for drag, well, they did actually get a lot of backlash by certain people, of course, on Twitter, like, I'm never going to watch your movies again. Somebody wrote, this guy, not Mike Harlow, wrote, nobody gives a shit if your husband wants to put on a dress and call himself Shirley. Don't do it in front of kids. What is so difficult to understand about this? Okay, missing the point.
Shirley is a horrible drag name, by the way.
Isn't it? I mean, come on. Unless you're trying to be Shirley Bassey, forget it.
Right.
And then we'll discuss, Lizzo is on tour right now, and she created a huge spectacle in her Friday night show, the first show of the second leg of the special 2-hour show. She brought on so many, I forget how many drag queens she brought on stage. She said, thank you to these beautiful drag queens for showing their pride in Tennessee. And she did it in Tennessee, which we all know they're taking away so many rights. Yeah. She said, I want to take the time and thank each and every one of these incredible entertainers and list them all on her social media with a great picture of all of them. She's at the helm. So much great support for this. I mean, Lincoln, when you hear that it's now come to, because Pride season is really kicking off, or in many cities already started, we're at this point now where we're seeing the effects of all these laws. What are your thoughts on that? And what are your thoughts on just essentially some of these celebrities showing their support?
Well, I love the celebrities showing their support. I think, there's a long history of that, and that goes a long way. I also think we're focusing on the people that are freaking out about it, which is still the minority. Loud, but the minority. Like other people have said, we're here to stay. Drag queens are here to stay, and we have to keep the fight going. But it does seem like the spotlight is being put on the people who are screaming about it. You know what I mean? And the huge backlash. Is it really a huge backlash? You know what I mean? Like, and then there's a backlash to the backlash, and then there's a backlash to that backlash. So at the end of the day, it just shows how polarized we are, no matter what the topic. And and if we're on the corners with our dukes up, no one's having a conversation. So like, it's just, to me, it's reductive. To be like, it's a conversation that, take it back to how we started. Now Tucker Carlson's gone. Now Don Lemon is gone. Well, then there's going to be a backlash to that. It's exhausting, truth be told. I think we all feel the exhaustion more than anything else.
We definitely live in that age, and I do applaud the celebrities that really don't have to do this, show their support. They probably already get the idea that there's going to be some sort of backlash if they have any sort of opinion in social media, and they are choosing their direction that they want to show the support for drag. And I think, I don't think Kevin Bacon is losing sleep about, some girl in Wisconsin not wanting to see his next movie. What are your thoughts, Kodi?
Yeah, I first of all, I applaud Lizzo and Kevin Bacon because they're fighting the good fight. I might go watch Footloose now. I've never seen it, by the way, so I definitely.
What? You've never seen Footloose?
I've never seen Footloose.
I know. My God, right? It's so good.
Come on, that's like a life-affirming movie making.
Well, I know what the themes are and that seems to be what's going on in this country right now, as far as what's drag and everything getting banned right now, and they're taking away many rights. Yeah. So I'm really glad that he's standing up, and I'm glad that Lizzo is standing up, because we all need to really stand up and not live afraid, which is what they want us to do. So we really need to stand loud and stand proud and do what we got to do to make sure that the hate mongers and the zealots don't win.
Can I interrupt just for 1 second? Because exactly what you're saying is true, but I'm not sure if it's fear or confusion. I've been hearing this a lot lately with the abortion debate, that they want to make it so confusing that women don't know if it's legal or not to get the pill in the mail or to do it in their state. And I think the goal, while fear is always the driving force,
yes,
I think the goal has just been for people to be so up in arms with being appalled or aghast or banning or shutting down that everyone's just confused and argumentative more than anything else. Does that make any
It
sense?
does.
You know what I mean? It's like we walk down the street. As you guys know, I was featured by Chase and Madison Square Garden as an LGBTQ owned business, and in my own head, I was like, should that not be? Is that not a good thing across America when people see my cookie? And I got confused, and I'm like, what the hell am I talking about? I cannot not be who I am. It's any time I open my mouth, a purse falls out. This is not this is not a new mystery. Like
I agree 100%. And it's like fear is the driving force, but confusion is the tactic. So we can't let them allow us to be confused by their driving force or their tactics. We have to stand steadfast in who we are and what we know we can do, and what greatness this country can actually become.
Let's switch gears a little bit to something, Kodi, I know you're going to like. RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm talking about a controversy that was just sparked on the brand new All-Stars 8. Lost my voice there. And it was a big conversation online within perhaps our own community. So, the last topic was the whole country and divide. This may be actually a conversation, a divide within our own community. And it was with the contestant Jimbo. Do you know Jimbo, Kodi?
I know Jimbo. I love Jimbo. I can't wait to hear what the divide is on Jimbo.
Okay, so for people that don't know, Jimbo's All-Star 8 entrance, and if you watch Drag Race, they all, at the beginning of every season, that's the whole thing. When I went to Vegas, they did the same thing, only on a live stage. They come out, they introduce themselves. The other girls, if they're already introduced, are there watching, and it's this great moment where they give a tagline, they tell who they are, they're sassy. Anyway, they give a walk. Jimbo's All-Star 8 entrance look spark this debate about misogyny of all things. And you're probably asking yourself, how is this possible? So the whole thing was to do about when impersonating women of different body types. So some fans are even going as far as calling Jimbo's look misogynistic. In short, Jimbo wore an oversized breastplate for her entrance. And just for people not knowing, they all, right, Kodi? They all pretty much wear breastplates for the most part, correct?
A lot of queens wear breastplates, but I think that the trend is starting to become flat-chested drag
look
queens.
at the other direction.
I know but drag is an art. It's an art, and it's an expression of self, and I don't know if it's a direct correlation to women. It's just it's called female illusion for a reason. It's not necessarily indicative of what everybody sees a woman as. But continue.
Yeah, so essentially this Jimbo's aesthetic has been for years to wear an oversized breastplate, and like many drag queens do, the one that they're kind of, some people are saying that she was mocking women, that it's getting over exaggeration and a depiction of quote unquote a bimbo. And somebody actually wrote, I'm going to say it as loud as I possibly can. This was Messy1UT wrote, these are not the same as other drag queens that in their mind are respectable. We aren't picking and choosing. The first two are creating a feminine illusion, and the last one is a mockery, referring to Jimbo. I think this, I can't believe that this is even a conversation. It's like we really are pulling, slicing dice here. It's just so dumb to me, because I think, like you said before, drag is an art form, and it's always been like bigger hair, bigger lips. They get rid of their eyebrows and lift up their eyes. So I don't find this misogynistic at all. And I find, like, why is this now coming forth, Kodi?
I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me, because I always thought Jimbo is a self-described clown. So I don't think that necessarily they are trying to mock women by any in any way, shape, or form. I think I did hear about this, and I think that Jimbo has even apologized for people mistaken his their drag by and saying that it was misogynistic. He's apologized and said that he uplifts women. But I also find value in listening to underrepresented uh, people, and I think that if women are saying that it's misogynistic, that then I should at least listen and try and find value or try and see their perspective, because this is a blind spot for me personally, because I'm not a woman, and I think maybe Jimbo could find some value in that too by just listening to what these women have to say.
I didn't know that women were saying anything, though. In the article I had, I didn't read anything. Did you hear anything like that? Because I just feel like I asked my sister, and she was like, "Oh my God, that sounds so silly." And
Really?
drag has always been about over the top everything. So it's drag.
Well, maybe it's just a conversation that they should be having, and I we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
Lincoln, what are your thoughts in hearing all this? Because I know you don't really watch RuPaul's Drag Race, but what are your thoughts on that?
I literally got nothing. Sorry. I got nothing. I'm not going to add to this conversation or subtract from it. I'm only going to put my foot in my mouth, so I'm just going to let it go. Next time. Oh, but I will tell you, I can't wait to hear this. Do you guys like Chelsea Handler?
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a Chelsea Handler podcast, one episode. So everyone keep listening to Tags. Don't replace us with Chelsea Handler. But she did a 1 hour show with Bianca Del Rio.
Oh.
And I have to, and it's called like Italian Sausage or something. So I think that sounds like a great listen. So that's my contribution to this.
And we love Bianca. So
we love Bianca Del Rio. We love Chelsea Handler. And I bet that whatever they talk about, it's hilarious.
And I bet you they'll have Jimbo on as a guest.
I hope so. I don't know.
I think it's just one episode. It's like Chelsea interviewing Bianca Del Rio, and then she goes on and does other people. Anyway, very exciting.
I love it. Okay. Well, let's turn gears here to Grindr. And I actually love this next story because there's a man in the UK and he has gone viral on Twitter with his Grindr story. Kieran, who's based in Bristol, England, he says he recently had a bathroom emergency. Not what you're thinking.
I was gonna say, wait a minute now.
Not Montezuma's Revenge. Not any of that stuff. When his sink started leaking. And I can relate to this already because for whatever reason, I'm in this lifetime, there's always a plumbing emergency in my life. I don't know what it is. I hate it. Unfortunately, he didn't have the tools available to fix it. Solution, he didn't know his neighbors. He instead messaged the nearest person on Grindr, get this, to see if they could help and provide him with a flathead screwdriver. And I know the puns are all out there right now, but he wrote, people say Grindr is bad, but I sourced a flathead screwdriver faster on there than literally anywhere else. Kieran's tweet had almost 100,000 likes, and he told Queerty, I was able to sort out the sink problem. The thing that I needed the screwdriver for was to turn off the water at the mains so it wouldn't flood the house before the contractor was able to come in and fix it. It properly, and he has come around today and fixed it, so it's all done now. But his Good Samaritan on Grindr was very kind and offered him that screwdriver. Everybody, of course, was wondering, like, did you guys in fact screw after the fact? He reported no, despite the reputation it has. People on there are just, he just thought that no, it was just a friendly thing that this guy did, and he now has a new friend.
Aww.
But I mean,
not a screw.
Not a screw, no. I think that's really good. This would be something that I would use Grindr for too, because I'm really like awful when it comes to fixing things. Lincoln, I have a feeling you're a really good handyman, as well as many other things. Is Peter? Because I always feel like whoever I end up with at some point, they need to be like the handyman out of the two of us, because I can speak and do this kind of stuff, but I cannot do other things like that.
We're both pretty equal. I mean, when it comes to the details and stuff, well, we balance each other out. You know what I mean? When I took down, I had a Madonna closet that was wall-to-wall Madonna paraphernalia prior to Peter moving in. And when he moved in and we had to share the closet, I said, okay, I think I'm going to take down all the Madonna stuff except for like one album, and I'm going to archive it, and we'll use it in the future. But I want the floor to be a black and white checker floor, and I want to do it on the diamond like the opening of the Girly Show. So instead of like a typical checker floor, I wanted it turned on the diamond. So when you walked into the closet, everything was pointing at you. You know what I mean by that?
Cool.
And I do not have the patience to do that. And Peter took care of it in both closets.
Nice.
So certain things he's really good at. Other things he's not. They're just like me. Like I would do that, but I would get very frustrated and I wouldn't enjoy it. And he kind of figures out how to enjoy it, which is nice to hear.
This is such a positive Grindr story because we're always seemingly reporting on the negative of the app, Kodi. And I'm just wondering with you, because you actually found your love on Grindr. What were... Joe, what are some other... but I guess if I was to look at your guys' couple, are one of you, since you now live together, I'm sure there's problems that happen in your apartment that you moved into, who handles it first and who's the other one to like run to the gym?
Oh no, I am definitely the handyman in this house because
the handyman, the cook, the top.
But he brings home the bacon, so that's all that matters. So
there you go.
There it is. No, but I fix all the warp drawers. I hang everything. I hung this beautiful it's shelving, everything. I do all the screwing in here. Oh my gosh, look at that fun.
There it goes again.
Good for you. That's really great. I love that. Nice. Maybe I'll borrow you sometime. Not for the other kind of stuff. But,
for a good screw call.
Right. I'm so awful with that kind of stuff. It's awful. But okay. Moving on, there's this great story, and I can't wait for you guys to weigh in on this, where gay guys listed their favorite things about being queer. Some of the answers may surprise you. So it was a Reddit thread, and they were talking about their least favorite things about being gay. Well, now we're talking about some of our favorite things. And this is kind of fun. Like, what are the best parts about being a card-carrying homosexual right now? Interestingly enough, some of the answers were, I always feel like our bars and clubs have a better atmosphere than the straight ones. Somebody wrote, no kids, no risk of kids. Somebody wrote, men. Everything about men fascinates and excites me. I'm kind of in that boat there for sure. Somebody wrote, people don't have high expectations from you, like having kids and a wife, and how manly you behave. You're pretty much free if you think about it. If I was to say my favorite things about being queer, it would have to do with today. I mean, I could talk about when I first accepted myself in that first Pride Parade, where I've just felt like I had entered a community that I really belonged and it accepted me. And it was just so joyful. But the joy continues, even though we're in tough times, I feel, but it continues in a way today where I'm just so much more open. I mean, I was talking to this server here in Mexico the other day, and she was asking, well, where do you like to go out? And the old me would have wanted to say, like, gloss over and not say gay bars. And I was like, oh, Cece's music is where I like to dance. She's like, oh, which she immediately knew immediately that I was gay. And so I just have a very prideful side of being queer now that maybe I didn't have before. But I have a lot of other things, like definitely how easy it is, how free we are to have sex and speak openly and be unapologetic about it, like we talk about on this show. But I don't know, Kodi, if you were to say what's your favorite things about being queer, what would they be?
You literally stole both of mine. I was like, oh, okay.
Why do you think I started first?
He took the community one. Okay, cool. My backup is gay sex. Okay, and then you stole that one too. Well, but yes, no, I love the sense of community I get from being gay. Sometimes it can be a little bit like backbiting, or sometimes it gets a little catty, but for the most part, and generally speaking, I feel like we are all very supportive of one another in the gay community, and that really is uplifting. And I find such a connection when I go out and I talk to other gay people and I get to know them. So that's a really positive aspect, and I agree with you 100% on that.
Nice. Yeah, those are great ones. Hey guys, I was just at the adult bookstore down the street getting my monthly supply of lube and saw those erection pills they sell. You know, the ones that usually are at the front of the store. Maybe they're at the counter before you check out. Have you ever wondered what the heck is in those things, and are they even safe? And we all know there's a plethora of products out there to keep you hard and ready, but are they safe? Many of them raise your heart rate and your blood pressure, and when drinking is involved, when we go out, we may not be consuming the best pills to do the job of keeping us hard and ready for a night of fun. Joy Mode is here to save the day like a superhero we all needed. Whether you think you need help or not in the bedroom, Joy Mode is like a pre-workout but for sex. Joy Mode makes natural and science-backed sexual wellness products for men. The Sexual Performance Booster is designed to support erection quality and firmness and sex drive. It contains clinically supported doses of arginine nitrate, L-citrulline, Panax ginseng, and vitamin C. It was created with best-in-class scientists and biochemistry PhDs. After taking the Sexual Performance Booster, blood levels of arginine nitrate will increase, which will directly promote nitric oxide production, penile tissue relaxation, and increased drive. Meanwhile, the antioxidant action of vitamin C will protect nitric oxide from oxidative degradation, which enhances the blood flow promoting activity of nitric oxide. Collectively, these effects enhance sex drive and blood flow to the penis, resulting in better performance. Joy Mode was created because the products on the market are terrible and they knew they could do better. Prescriptions come with all sorts of side effects and the over-the-counter gas station pills are sketchy and fraudulent. But a lot of guys take both because they don't have a better option. Simply tear open the sachet and mix with 6 to 8 ounces of water, just like your favorite electrolyte packet. For best use, consume anywhere from 45 minutes to 4 hours prior to sexual activity. You'll notice better blood flow, better erection quality and firmness, and increased sexual energy and drive. So you want to spice things up in the bedroom and boost your sexual performance and do it naturally without prescription drugs? We have a special offer for the TAGS audience. Go to usejoymode.com/tags or enter TAGS, TAGS at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's usejoymode.com/tags for 20% off your first order. Thanks, Joy Mode. Lincoln, if you had to reflect on what are some of your favorite things about being gay, queer, what would they be?
I've always been obsessed with looking at the world a different way. I don't know if it's because I'm legally colorblind or because my mind is very visual, photographic memory. I don't like looking at love in a linear way. I don't like looking at style in a linear way. And being gay, that slight outsider perspective on the world is what I think I get the most out of by being gay. The sexual liberation, definitely. I've gone up and down with that throughout my life. The masculinity and leaning into that. I do not think we're a very homogenous community. Mm-hmm. I think we're very angry and everyone's in their tribes lately and people are living their best life at the expense of other people. And that's not just in the gay community, but because we're flamboyant and big and loud, sometimes it feels like we're a little more extra than a lot of the other tribes in our society. I do think back in the day when everyone just was like love and let love, it was a different energy in our community. And I really loved that. I didn't realize how many people of different genders and stuff were being oppressed at the time. And that was definitely not my experience because I had all that in my little San Francisco Castro bubble. You know what I mean? So I also like a struggle. I think people who say life is fabulous and everything's wonderful are full of bullshit. And being gay is hard, being a woman is hard, being black is hard, being um, anything. If you have too much money, then it's hard to give it to the right people. If you have too little money, it's hard to eat and keep your family going. So
life is a struggle.
yeah, life is a struggle. And being gay has always been like a badge of honor to me that I like to represent. So when people put us in a hole of, you're all just drag queens trying to molest children, well, okay, well, that just has nothing to do with me and you're a moron. We're not even, no one is that way. You know what I mean? It's like the bathroom issue with trans, like, why are all these things being made up? You know what I mean? So, but I like that struggle as far as being able to be a positive force in that world. And I'm also so grateful for being gay because I lost so many people due to AIDS. And people don't even really remember that anymore in a lot of ways. If I insult people by saying that, I'm sorry. But it's that empathy and compassion is part of the memory of that. And that I feel is what I mean when I say people don't really think about that anymore.
I really love the badge of honor. I relate to that a lot. And I think I have come to a place finally now that I wear that badge proudly as well. So thanks for that. Kind of staying on that, there was a recent Reddit thread, and I'm going out of order because just hearing you guys talk about this, there was a guy that posted recently, Thick Twink. I like the name.
I'm interested now. Of course you do.
I know, right?
I have a plumbing problem.
Can I get a screw? Driver.
So in relating to what we were just talking about what we're so happy about, he wrote, how to respond when a complete stranger walks past me and calls me the F word. We don't know what that word is. Faggot, right? I'm a gay male. I was walking down the street having a nice day, feeling beautiful today. Then this older man walking towards me walks really close to me and calls me the F word as we are passing. I was so taken aback, I didn't know what to do. I just smiled and laughed. I'm wearing a nice dress shirt and nice work trousers. I just don't understand why anyone would do such a thing. But afterwards, it actually really stung. As it was so unprovoked and out of the blue. Any advice and help would really appreciate. And, we just talked about how proud we are and what we're happy about being queer or gay. I have felt that sting that he's referencing and talking about before, where you can just, nothing you did, you feel provoked them. And all of a sudden, more in the past, I got that. And it really put this cloud over me. I think now I would probably have a different perspective on it. I know, Kodi, you said Joe recently on an episode. You mentioned Joe was walking down the street in your neighborhood and got called that word too. What can you share about that experience? And it's almost the opposite of what we were just talking about.
Well, I think that he just kept it pushing and didn't let that gentleman know that it affected him. But I feel like, from what he told me, that it did affect him, because when you get called the F word, and I've been called the F word before, it definitely comes out of nowhere and it's a shock to your system. You're basically in shock. It's like you've been attacked. And
you were walking in Times Square the other day. You were telling another story.
Yeah, but I nobody said anything to me when I was in Times Square. But I could, if someone had said something to me, then I would definitely be taken aback, and I would internalize it. And that's something that we have to learn to. I don't know how much preparation you can actually do for it, but for me, we have to learn how to take it in stride and not let it affect us and who we really want to be. I'm just trying to speak positively, but I don't know. It's something that I feel like when we do get called the F word, then it hurts more than we let on. And I think that if someone is calling you that, it's to get a reaction out of you so that they can actually see that they've hurt you. And I do not want to let anybody have that satisfaction. Nobody can get my go. And so I just keep it pushing. Or what I've done before previously is I've said, oh yes, I am. And then I keep it going, because they're not going to I'm not going to show them that they hurt me.
Yeah. I don't know, Lincoln. What are your thoughts on this too?
Well, the only thing I'm going to say is let's all take a deep breath and nobody react to anything. Because if people are walking around calling people faggot and other words, this is not the environment for anyone to react at all. People are getting shot by getting in the wrong car. People are getting shot by ringing the wrong doorbell to pick up their brother. And we're going to now, I'm horrible at it. Today when I left the gym, this biker, because the electric bikes on New York City streets just make me so angry. I swear to God, I get incensed. I get out of my head.
I know what you mean.
I just get beyond, because you're riding an electric bike on a crowded sidewalk.
80 miles an hour,
moron are you? So now I've taken to just trying to say things that are not as inflammatory directly. So when we walked out of the gym, this bike came barreling down, and I said, wow, for a woman who's so old, you would think you would know better than to be on a sidewalk on a bike.
Oop.
And I just kept walking, and she could have turned around and shot me. I don't know anymore, because nothing makes a difference.
You're right about
the breath. Oh
my
God.
You're so right about taking that breath, though. And
you have to take the breath and just say, Peter is the best at this. He's so patient. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the thing also, like, the one thing that comes to mind too is you can walk out the door and have meditated or, had great sex and feel really good. And why are you going to give, an incident all this power, right? And I know that's easier said than done, but it's something I have worked on a lot. One of the things in relation to what you're saying, Lincoln, it came to mind was on the plane. And we all know getting on a plane these days is a whole situation. Landing here in Puerto Vallarta, or I think it was San Francisco because I stopped there first. We all don't like it when we're getting off the plane and maybe you're in the middle to the back of the plane and you're waiting to get off and somebody decides to jump ahead of you because they feel like they want to get their bag first and they're pushing in front. Well, I was annoyed by this person doing that, but I just took a deep breath and said, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and breathe and not let it. The person next to me did not do that and was saying all this comment like, where are you going? Well, what do you think you're going to do? You really got that much further ahead, and on and on and on. And I was like, those are the things that maybe I was thinking, but these days it wasn't worth it because that person's not going to get any point I'm trying to make. And so I did that deep breath thing and just like, I kind of cocoon. What I do is I cocoon inward, particularly on a plane. And I focus inward and I'm just like, you know what? This is not that battle to, go off.
It's not our battle anymore. And we need to step away and rise above it. It's the Michelle Obama, we go high, they go low thing, because it has to pass. Yeah. And it's funny because we basically have said the same comment all the way back to canceling Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon. And people are screaming and yelling about that as if they're on friggin' TV. They don't hear you. Why are you getting so emotional about it? Same with a drag queen drinking beer. Why are you shooting beer with a gun because a drag queen was in a Instagram video? We're just so off the rocker that the only thing that's going to bring us back to center is if we each individually silence ourselves and grow up, right? Or grow above the situation. That's what I mean by grow up.
What I'm going to say is that it is a balancing act because you do not want to make yourself a doormat for people either, because once you take it and take it and take it, then you feel run over and you feel taken advantage of. So it is a balancing act.
I agree with you, but don't you think that's a personal thing with a person more than the world? Because if I get cut off by 4 electric bikes today, I'm not being a doormat. I'm just being careful and not engaging so I don't get hurt. Do you know what I mean by that?
I see. But if you have people because you don't know
that you go or places you go where you're constantly feeling like you're getting ran over or not, you know what I mean? Not acknowledged. I will bring this to recently. I recently went to one of my favorite places in New York City, and it wasn't my favorite place that night. All the culture was gone. All the people I usually see there were gone. It felt like I felt like I was in Times Square. I wasn't in my cultural nest egg of gayness in New York anymore. It just felt basic. And I went, well, I don't need to be here. And I left. And I'll go back. Fingers crossed it'll get better. But if I go back a few times, you're right, Kodi. I'm not going to keep doing that. There has to be another place to be. You know
and
what I
there
mean?
also has to be a way for you to assert yourself and to not feel like you're getting taken advantage of and not necessarily fly off the handle either. So, like I said, there's a middle ground to everything. And I know she's got anger issues over here. So
it's hard. Yeah.
We all do these days, and I know it seems like we're talking a lot about these things, but I think it's just the state of where we're at right now. But it's good to talk this stuff out. So,
and if we're talking about it, everybody's feeling it.
Everyone has something.
It's one of those things like just last night I was saying this, and then at brunch we were saying this, and now I get on the podcast and we're all saying this. It's the collective consciousness of where we're at. Yeah. And we're not throwing anyone under the bus. We're not telling people what to do, but we're just, a voice that you're not alone. Like, I didn't mean to throw our whole gay culture under the bus, but I do feel it's been very different in 2023, post-Trump, post-COVID. Post-COVID just as a world, post 9/11 in New York City, post-HIV AIDS throughout the 80s and early. Like, come on. We all have to stop every once in a while and go, it's not our most fabulous life. It's hard, and we're here for each other. And we have to learn to love each other more so it feels better.
Well, let's stay on the downtrodden conversation that we're having. No, it's really.
I find it liberating. I find it liberating because
I'm actually not even kidding on this next story, and I want your guys' opinion based in, because these two stories are very similar. And Kodi, I love to pair up a story.
Get a girl.
Because to Lincoln's point, if we're talking about it, we can't be the only ones talking about this stuff. It's like in the ethosphere. This person wrote Master Carrot 7122. Am I the problem? Did I choose wrong? These next two stories have to do about sensitivity in a relationship. Just bear with me here. So my husband picked me up from the airport after visiting my family. I gave him the flight information and texted him as soon as I landed. When I got off the airplane, he texted, "Where are you?" I called him and told him I had just gotten off the airplane and was walking towards the exit. When I got to him, and I could see his anxiety in his face. We all know that. He grabbed my bag and we started walking to the car. I couldn't help it to feel sad and angry that he was anxious about being at the airport. I wanted to see him with a big smile, and a hug. He doesn't like to show affection whatsoever in public, but not even a smile. Well, I felt sad and angry. He asked me how the trip was. I said it was good and left it at that. A few days of arguments about the situation, he told me that he was anxious about the situation of being at the airport and that I should be grateful that he was there on time. He also told me I shouldn't take. He also told me that I shouldn't take anything that he expresses, such as anxiety, as personal towards me. Some days I just blow it off, but some days I can't help to feel sad and angry. Am I wrong taking it personal? And let me relate it to this other one that I don't know this person's name, so we're just going to say what they wrote. It's a different person. My boyfriend is very sexual, but not physically affectionate, and it's putting me off sex. It feels like he's only interested in physical intimacy when it leads to sex. I, on the other hand, long for hugs, kisses, cuddles, holding hands, gentle touches, and other non-sexual physical gestures. I get that it comes down to love language, and he shows it in other ways. I have spoken to him about it, but when he does, it feels forced. He asks if I want a hug, and I've made a joke about it that he doesn't need to ask before he does it. Or he does it, it's short-lived, and foreplay for sex. Are we compatible in that front if it takes him that much effort to show love in a way that I appreciate? So I kind of paired these two up in that and speaking to two people in relationships, that when you're not exactly the same and when one person needs a little bit more love and affection, one of my favorite words, how do you guys deal with that? Or what's some advice, Lincoln, hearing these people that they're not maybe getting what they want?
Well, you know what it reminds me? I don't know if you guys watch Ted Lasso. but the current season of Ted Lasso, the opening episode was all about let Ted be Ted. Let people be who they are. And Peter doesn't do things the way that I do them. And I can spend all day criticizing him that he should do them my way. But I'm trying my best to go, no, let Peter be Peter. He's always going to get to the right result. It might not be the way I got there, but let him be him. So if your partner goes about sex differently than you're used to, do you love him or not? Is he your partner or not? Because you need to let him be him to get to you. You don't want him to be your version of him because then it won't last. Right? You know what I mean? And if someone's having a bad day at an airport, so be it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We all travel different. And you shouldn't internalize it. You shouldn't. But I've also been in that place.
I'm surprised that they're still picking you. I'm surprised that they're still picking each other at the airport. I'm like, bitch, get yourself home on your own these days.
Steve.
Well, if it's there's certain cities, like I'm just going to throw out LAX. Nobody goes to LAX to pick up a love. You just don't. It's like crazy.
It does depend on the city. You're right. I mean, it does. I think it does. Like, I'm not going to run and pick someone up from JFK.
I mean, yeah.
That would be stupid. Like, by the time I get the car and get there and then have to park the car and come back, it's never going to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
and talk about ruining a relationship, I feel like.
I will pay for your Uber.
I will either pay for your Uber, or if I'm on my own, I can get home by myself. I do think, and this might sound a little insensitive, but to use that word, I do think they're being a little sensitive. Like at this, and I also wonder, since they didn't really, I don't believe they mentioned how long have they been together, where you kind of know somebody at a certain point in time, like, okay, they don't like to do this, they get anxiety for this, let me just handle this on my own. And then probably, if I was getting home on my own and they're not around, and if I haven't seen them for a while, I would probably have a problem with that and have a conversation with that. Like, really, I've been away for like this so much time and I get nothing.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts, Kodi, on this? I mean, are you running to the airport or?
So we actually just went to the airport to pick up and drop off Joe's brother, and I mean it was fine.
Not JFK.
Yeah, we went to JFK. We certainly did. We went and got him because because
everyone's gonna think Lincoln and I are bitches.
No, you know what? But so. I hear what you guys are saying, and to a certain degree, I agree, because you have to let your partner be themselves. But what about your needs in a relationship? So the important thing in a relationship is compromise. You know what they're capable of. You know what your needs are. You guys need to meet in the middle, basically. If Joe is very upset at the airport, he doesn't want to give me a kiss, just give me a little small peck, and we can keep it pumping. Or what have you. If prime example, last night I was exhausted from work. Joe came home and he wanted to cuddle a little bit, so I gave him a little bit of cuddles, and then I said, get the hell off of me, bitch, because I need to be by myself right now, because I know that is something that he needs in this relationship, and that he enjoys. He loves to cuddle, and he loves to kiss, and he loves affection. So meet your partner's needs while also holding something for yourself as well. That's what relationships are at the end of the day.
Yeah, no doubt.
I love that too. And one of the things, I say this a lot, and I don't mean to be overly preachy on this, but it works for me when you're spending a lot of time with somebody. Setting an intention at the beginning of the day and your interaction with that person really does wonders. I've done it, and I've seen the day progress beautifully with the intention setting that I set forth, and I've forgotten to do it on certain days and seen where that got me, and little bickering fights happen, and you layer in the airport and all bets are off, right? I mean, we're all high strung these days.
Or an electric bike comes by when you leave the house, and then you're back to square one
with a gun-toting granny on it.
Yeah,
there's only so much we can control, and it's our own behavior and how we choose to react. And it's just kind of where we're at right now. And I love Lincoln, take a deep breath. And it sounds so simple, but it can work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that is the theme for our episode today. Take a deep breath.
I don't know that whether you're taking that big dick. That's the sex talk that I don't know how we got 6 years of sex positive podcasting on this. Bear with us, listeners, and let us know if any of this resonates with you. We'd love to hear from you. You can always DM us at TAGSPodcast, and this is where we're at right now. And sometimes, we're a weekly podcast, and we found it cathartic. I hope you did too. You can follow my co-host, follow Lincoln at the Protein Bakery on 19th Street in Chelsea. Follow it at Protein Bakery, Follow him on his personal account at Mad Lincoln. Follow Kodi, he's a life coach at KMD Coaching. And of course, his personal account at Mr. Maurice. Me, of course, follow me at @IAM_Steve V. And guys, thanks so much. Thanks for going through it with us.
Absolutely.
And in the meantime, by all means, continue having hot
gay sex.
Yes, people.